Oh. Welcome to Story Chats at Inspy Romance. I'm Elizabeth Madry, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Narelle Atkins.
And that's Valerie Comer, hiding.
Sorry, there was a little glitch. Do you want to start that over again?
Sure.
I didn't hear any of that.
Okay, yeah. Welcome to Story Chats at Inspy Romance. I'm Elizabeth Madry, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Narelle Atkins.
I'm Valerie Comer.
And today we have Amy Anguish here with us today to talk about her new release, Destination Romance. So here's a little about Amy from her bio. Amy R. Anguish grew up as a preacher's kid, and in spite of having lived in 7 different states that are all south of the Mason-Dixon line, she's not a football fan. Currently, she resides in Tennessee with her husband, daughter, and son, and usually a bossy cat or two. Amy has an English degree from Freed-Hardeman University that she intends to use to glorify God, and she wants her stories to show that while Christians face real struggles, it can still work out for good. Thank you so much for joining us, Amy.
I am so glad to be here.
So why don't we start by having you just tell us a little bit about Destination Romance? Give us a couple minutes about the book.
Okay. This is my first book in my first series, and it is a road trip romance. And so basically it happens mostly away from home. There are 3 girls that have just graduated from college, and they have gone on several road trips together through college, but this is going to be their last big hurrah before they have to face adulthood, basically. And it's also sort of a bachelorette fling because one of them is going to get married. And so the main girl character in this one is Katie, and she is going to be a librarian and has gotten her dream job. Is very excited about starting it. So she doesn't really care to go on this trip, but she goes just because she's gone on all the others, I guess. And she's the maid of honor, so she sort of has to go. And the very first night, they run into 2 guys, and the guys end up deciding to tag along on the girls only road trip.
Yeah.
Yes. And
hijinks ensue.
Yes. Chaos ensues.
Excellent. All right. So I don't know. I guess we always just, when we're interviewing an author, we each take a turn asking a question. So Valerie, you are first on my list of people to take the floor.
All right. Cooney and I will just go ahead and do that. There weren't any cats on this road trip, right? That does not class as my question.
No.
So,
No, there were no cats in this book.
Well, Cooney's not so interested in that case.
Yeah.
She's not a big reader as it is. So you have these 3 friends, Katie and Bree and Sky. They are such an unlikely group together. I got the feeling they're kind of held together by the bride-to-be, that the other 2 wouldn't be such good friends if it wasn't for their mutual friend. So I'm just really curious where your inspiration came for these very unlikely friends.
I don't know. Is that an honest answer?
A short question and answer.
I have some very unlikely friends. A lot of people don't realize that I am an extrovert. I don't know why, because I am very outgoing and talk all the time. But I always end up with these introverted friends for some reason. Like I'm just drawn to them. And I'm the one that sort of like holds various friendships together. So maybe that's why I thought, oh, this is just the way it normally is.
Well, I can see that kind of thing because, Katie doesn't come across as particularly extroverted. She's just
I tried to make her an introvert.
I did.
I think you managed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I can see how the extrovert being the center of the friendships could draw in some introverts that may or may not actually like each other all that much. Although they didn't hate each other, just
Right.
that was a lot of the tension though. And I think Cooney's done. So see you later, Katie.
Hi, Cooney.
Well, if you're going, go.
There's a thing I see on Facebook periodically that's along the lines of introverts don't actually make friends. They just wait for an extrovert to adopt them. And I would agree with that, generally speaking.
That seems to be what happened there. Now, so would you say that the other two are extroverts?
I would definitely say Bree is more extroverted. She's very go get it. Let's plan this, but if something happens, we'll just roll with the punches. Sky is very she is my free spirit, and she just sort of developed her own character as I wrote her, and went off and did her own thing. And I was like, well, okay. So when I sat down to write the third
I can
book,
just see you tagging along behind, taking notes. Oh, this is what she does.
yes. Yeah, I tell my
True
husband,
readers.
I give these characters their own personality, and then they write the story for me, and he doesn't understand that, but that's the way it happens. And so of course the second book is Breeze, and then the third book is Skies. And when I sat down to write those, I had to go back and reread the first one to remember what they were like. And then when they were the real center of attention, they even developed more, and so I'm hoping that I did them both justice too.
So all three stories are currently written.
They are currently written.
Ooh, look at
They're
you
coming
go.
out 6 months apart, so I didn't really have a choice. I had to just sit down and knock them out.
Awesome.
Well, good for you.
Yes.
Looking forward to seeing where further road trips are going to take us, because that's the theme, right?
Yes. Can I tell you, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So the second road trip is in Dallas, Texas. And then the third road trip is actually to Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, fun.
Mm.
Nice. Cool. All right, Narelle, are you ready with your question?
I am. I'm awake. It's very early in the morning when we're recording this one, so I've been awake for maybe an hour, so I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
So my question relates to Katie. So in the story, we really saw her struggle with PTSD, and the hints of that really started in New Orleans, which was the first stop on the road trip. And I was quite surprised that we were in New Orleans at the very beginning. We were at this beautiful hotel, and I sat there thinking, whereabouts are we? And New Orleans wasn't what I expected, but that was pretty cool. But anyway, my question relates to, we see them on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and something happens, and we start to see that Katie is really feeling under pressure when she's around crowds of people and different things. So without giving away any spoilers, how did Katie's PTSD impact on her life?
I think she's been avoiding it for most of her life, trying to pretend like it's not really there and that she can handle anything. And she really gets hit with it in several different places during the book. And not only does she have to face it, but then her friends start to realize what a really big deal it is, and her sister. And she finally admits that she might not be able to handle this by herself anymore, and probably couldn't handle it by herself in the beginning. But I don't think anybody else really realized what a big deal it was in her life either. And the more it comes out and the more she's having to struggle with it, I think that was a really big turning point. And some people have actually criticized the way I developed Katie. They didn't really like her, but that's who she is, and she's having to deal with this. And I'm hoping I left it in such a way that maybe they'll like her more towards the end of the book than they do at the beginning.
I did.
I find this whole like and dislike a character thing fascinating. I always have, because I don't tend to necessarily, I think a character is dumb or stupid or smart is probably the thinking that goes through my mind as a reader, rather than whether I like them or don't like them. But I think what I probably really took away from watching her PTSD journey in the story is that introverts are very good at hiding things. Extroverts, when they have a problem, usually the entire world plus the other side of the world knows what's going on, if that makes sense. They're the ones on social media shouting to the world about all this drama that's going on, and the more people that come in and give them the poor me and whatever, that sort of takes off, whereas introverts are very different in the way they manage things as well. So I thought that was very well done in the story. So I'm a fan of the way you've done Katie.
Thank you.
No,
And I hope people will give her a chance as well.
Yes. Yeah.
The like and dislike thing is pretty interesting because as an author, I don't want to write the same character like 40 times, right?
Exactly.
They all need to be different. I mean, some of them have a similar personality, but then their family upbringing, everything is so different. Or just the situation they find themselves in. So yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of a wide variety of characters, and yet that doesn't stop me from judging them in the first paragraph either. I'm like, excuse me, you know, could you not be a little more mature? And I'm like, oh, well, you know, there might be 50,000 words to come. She might get there.
Yeah. And I think it's also, I mean, because we're writing Christian romance, that it's often the characters that are the most like you are the ones that you don't like, because you're seeing all the traits in yourself that you wouldn't necessarily want to really think about, all on display in the book. And the consequences of those behaviors are also coming out in the book. So I think there's sometimes a bit of Holy Spirit nudging that goes on when people have a lot of energy about whether they like or don't like a character. So I never see that as a bad thing from that perspective as well.
Right.
Sure. Cool. I guess that makes it my turn.
Cool.
So mine is I love road trips. So I love just the idea of books set on road trips. Some of my favorite books have been road trip journeys. And I really enjoyed this one as well. And I love that aspect of it. What made you decide to go that route, if you'll pardon this sort of pun?
Nice.
I love puns. I love puns. Use all the puns. So way back a long time ago, when I was a freshman in college, I went on a road trip with two friends over spring break. Yes. And this road trip that I wrote about, it looks nothing like that one. But
we were going to say, oh, and these are the same stops.
And we went, we went to New Orleans.
No.
All right then.
No, but the idea of it stayed with me. And on that road trip, we did run over a few dead animals. So one of those made it in, and we did go several different places on that road trip. And when we were driving, there was another car that we kept like playing tag with. You know, you pass them and then they pass you, and there were some really cute guys in it. And so the idea just stayed with me. You know, what if we had stopped and met these guys, and then what if we had spent some time together? Could anything have happened just from one little road trip? You know, what would happen if you did that? And so
a Dateline murder episode.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what would have happened.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, my road trip happened back when we didn't even have cell phones. We didn't have all the technology that you have now that can keep you safer. Like my characters are following each other on the app on their phone and making sure they are where they say they are, and texting and calling. And we didn't even have any of that. So where we were going, our parents just had to assume we got there and, you know, we're safe. But the idea of it stayed with me. And so
we had pay phones though. We had pay phones. And you have to don't you remember checking in with mum and dad on the pay phone?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then you could call reverse charges when you had no money.
You phone collect and your parent says no.
Yes.
And hangs up. You have to have the message that you're okay.
Right.
Yes.
It's the collect operator says, state your name. And you're like, I made it, I'm fine. And then they deny that they don't want the car.
We did this even when my kids were teenagers. That probably tells you how old my kids are. But if they actually wanted to talk to us, they'd call a second time right away. If they called twice, then I'm like, okay, what do you want? Like, really, what do you want?
I had a calling card long distance calling card, but it only called my parents' number. I couldn't use it for anything else. So, but that was so that because it was a 14-hour drive from home to college. So that was, I could call them with the calling card. So old. Yeah. But still, that's cool. That's really fun. I did like how they used the apps to check up on each other, because I think that's smart today. If you are road tripping with friends, to keep tabs.
It's also slightly creepy. So my daughter was showing me her Snapchat app. I've never used Snapchat. It's all new to me. And she's showing me the world map and where friends are that she's been to school with and different things. She's like, oh, that's my friend such and such. And they're in Italy and they're living here, but they go to Milan and somewhere else, Venice quite often. I think that's when they're going clubbing because it's the middle of the night. And like, it's just, there's stuff that you can sort of draw out and extrapolate. And she knows where her friends are as well. And I just think that's weird. But that's just me. I'm not of this generation.
Yeah.
My husband has the app and he like uses it when his dad is coming to visit us. So we can sort of figure out when he's going to get here. And I call it his stalker app. Because he can stalk his dad and his brother, and you have to like accept and let them stalk you to use it. So there is like he does have permission. But I agree, it's a little creepy sometimes. Yeah.
It's just different generation. So that's what will be coming up in romance novels soon, is we'll have people tracking people with apps. You won't have to send a message, where are you? They'll just know.
Look. No. I see
look, he's walking down the street from 2 blocks away. He'll be here any second.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. All right, other questions for Amy, because we're running a little fast, so we have time if you thought of something else.
I have a question.
Okay.
So was there a particular reason that you chose the particular places that they stopped in the story? I just love seeing, I mean, I've never been to that part of the States in the South. I think I've been to San Antonio and Dallas, so they've been that way, and I've been to Indianapolis, but I haven't sort of been into that area. And so I found that fascinating to see the Gulf Coast. So was there a particular reason that you chose that particular route or those particular locations for the story?
I knew that I was starting in New Orleans, and I've been to New Orleans. It's been a long time, but I have been there, and I would love to go back because it's absolutely gorgeous and the food is amazing. Seriously, amazing. And then I knew that they were going to go some other places, so I started thinking about, okay, logistically, where else would they go? They don't want a ton of driving time between the places. So I actually pulled out my husband's atlas and was like mapping, okay, here's where the rust areas are. Here's how long it takes to get from here to here. I've been to the Gulf Coast and the water is absolutely gorgeous. It just miles and miles of it only come up to your knees, and it's clear and it's warm. And I thought, oh, it would be really fun to have a beach day in the middle of the trip, So we did that. And then Atlanta is where my husband grew up. And he is a big Atlanta Braves fan. And we've both been to Stone Mountain, not together, but we've both been several times. I've been to that Six Flags. I've been several other places in Atlanta. And we want to go back when our kids get just a little bit and do like the aquarium and the Coke Museum. And there's so much fun stuff to do there. So I just thought, okay, that's a really great place for them to end. They can go do a couple things there. That's where her sister's gonna live. So that gives them a place to stay. Because, you start thinking about road trips, they cost a lot of money if you don't have somewhere to stay. And you have to pay for hotel rooms and gasoline, which is ridiculous right now, and all the things.
And they're fresh out of college, so they're not.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They haven't started working yet, so they've got to be able to do things that they can mostly afford. Mostly they'll pay it off later, know.
They're not
I love the baseballs. You won me over with the baseball. That was the one thing that was very familiar. I've been to the baseball in Seattle years ago, probably about 9 years ago now. Love to go back. That's when I first discovered fries that had topping on them. We never really had that in Australia a decade ago. And like called dirty chips, I think, if I've remembered correctly. Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever had dirty chips. And now it's very popular here. We're a bit behind.
Hey, if you want anything that's unhealthy, just come to the United States and we have it in one form or another. I'm telling you, it's
extra large version of it.
Yes. All the
I remember
fat,
ordering
all the carbs.
Yeah.
I remember ordering a drink and I nearly fell over that I got given a bucket. But anyway, that's okay. And I did love the food in the book as well. So I was there busy Googling food like I do. I love foodie books. So I loved how your book had the foodie elements, particularly in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. New Orleans, food is such a big thing in New Orleans. And my aunt and uncle lived down in that area for a while. So they got us all hooked on like all the Cajun food. And I actually went and bought beignet mix a couple weeks ago and made them for my kids. And my kids were like, Mom, these are so good. And my kids are 5 and 7. So, you know, anything fried with sugar on it.
Right. Yeah.
We're in.
Yeah.
Heaven.
We're in. Yes. But I love food too. And I just think the South has some of the best food in the world.
They do.
Yeah.
They do for sure. Cool.
I will have to visit one day.
You should.
When
You
petrol,
should.
when the cost of gas isn't astronomical.
Good luck with that.
I know all our airfares are going up for international flights. So because of all the costs, I'm like, oh,
Yes.
it's going to be a long time before I travel overseas. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'll cope.
know.
I'll have to keep reading books with road trips in them.
There we go.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
How we all can travel more safely and
Yes.
I'm curious really quickly if you had trouble coming up with 3 different types of road trip romances for your series.
Sort of. I did not plan to make this a series. I had never written a series before in my life. And I just swore up and down I wasn't going to do it. And then I have 2 friends who all they had written until like last year was series. And they're like, Amy, you have to do a series. You have to do a series. And I'm like, I don't want to do a series. And I started writing the first book and I just thought, oh my goodness, wouldn't it be fun to give each girl her own book? And so it ended up, yes, they each get their own book. And the second one is sort of like an accidental road trip because they didn't mean to take a road trip. It was supposed to be a cruise. And a hurricane.
That's a little different. Yeah.
A hurricane strands them in Dallas, which is not really where you would ever think to just go for, you know,
For a cruise.
oh, I'm going to go to Dallas for a few days. You know, maybe if you live close to it, but you're not going to drive from Tennessee to Dallas just for no reason. So they get stranded in Dallas together and they actually know each other, but they're not really on friendly terms. So that
no. Okay.
I'm not going to tell you any more than that
No.
because it'll give
I
it
can
away.
extrapolate.
I'm piecing it together too. I'm like,
Yes.
Yes.
And then the third one is like a long-term trip because she's spending the summer with her sister in Boulder. Her father has threatened Sky. This is Sky, our flighty one. Her father has threatened to take the convertible away if she doesn't get a job.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
So she decides to go help her sister out with her wedding planning business and ends up spending the whole summer in Boulder, Colorado, but she doesn't plan to stay there. So
She doesn't plan to stay there.
Plan to.
Okay,
plan to stay there. Has no plan. No plan.
That's out.
Except to not lose the car. She's
Except
very
to not
precious
lose the
about the
car,
car.
yes.
Yes.
She is.
Yes.
Yeah.
We cannot lose the convertible.
No, the convertible was kind of the fourth participant in the
Yes.
road trip.
For
Yes.
sure, yeah.
Yes.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And
Yes.
why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and your books?
Okay. I have a website. It is abitofanguish.weebly.com.
I love that.
And I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. And I'm also on YouTube. It's called Once Upon a Page. And I have a channel with 2 other authors and we talk all things books and writing and do extras to go into some of the fun things in our books. So that's a really fun place.
Excellent.
And what else did you want?
Go ahead and mention, because you have some books on sale right now, I believe,
Yes.
July 1st, and they are off sale on Sunday.
On the 3rd.
The
Yes,
3rd.
the 3rd is the last day. They are on sale for 99 cents. It's Unexpected Legacy.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I have several because my publisher is doing her annual birthday sale. So
Oh,
she puts
fun.
most of our books on sale for 99 cents. So it's an Unexpected Legacy and No Place Like Home, Candy Cane Wishes, and Saltwater Dreams, which is a novella collection all set on the beach. And then Saving Grace. Here's my kitty.
Oh, kitty.
Oh,
Hello,
Aw.
What's your kitty's name?
It.
Oh,
kitty. The cat's
That's
name is
Cat.
It.
Yes.
that's outstanding. That's
Yes.
outstanding.
Poor thing. Poor little It.
Oh, she puts up with my 7-year-old picking her up and going, "Oh, Kit, I just love you so much." So
That's adorable.
just good cat.
Very cool. All right. I will try to remember to list all of those in the show notes.
That'd be great.
But they're only
I'll
on
have a
sale.
look.
Yeah,
I'll have a
they're-
look and see if I've missed any.
Yes.
The collection, the novella collection, is a good one. I
Yes.
enjoyed all of those. I think
Okay.
that might be. No, I've read a couple. I think I've read one or two of the others, but they're all good. But that I know with novella collections, sometimes I need a recommendation before I will like go there, because I'm one of these weird people who has to read from start to end. I don't just pick and choose like normal people do.
Yeah,
So-
me too. Me too.
So a recommendation helps, and that one is a good one. You can read all of them. They're all good.
Yes. They're all Christmas on the beach. So I mean, how can you go wrong? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
I
if
can't
you-
think of any way.
No. If you have a question for Amy about Destination Romance, it is July 1st, 2022. So she'll be around for like a week or so in the comments. If you're watching this in the future, far, far in the future from Mars, where we all live in colonies, then don't leave a comment looking for Amy because she's not here anymore. But
But she
otherwise,
might be. She might
well,
be.
she might be. It's true. We're not saying you can't come back from Mars to answer questions on our YouTube channel if you want to. Or Valerie. Valerie's like, this is a romance channel, not a sci-fi channel.
Ooh, watch Beth go.
Anyway, if you have a question for Amy about her book, please feel free to leave it in the comments and she will respond to you for a week or so. We would love to know what you think if you've read it, if you're intrigued. It is a really fun book that all three of us enjoyed reading. You can find information about the podcast at insbyromance.com/storychats. And if you're watching on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And we will look forward to seeing you again next week. And in the meantime, don't forget to fall in love with a good book. Bye, everybody.
Bye.